All right. Hey guys, what is up? Hello. Maya's finishing eating, so it's just me now. He'll be over here in a second. We are excited to be with you guys. What is up? Okay, so there are a lot of you on here. Normally at the beginning of videos, we haven't had a waiting room for 10 minutes. And so I say, if you're watching this part, you're watching the replay hour. That's not true for 250 of you. We go live on Sunday nights at 7 Central-ish. Usually it's pretty close to 7. And answer your questions and just chat with you. Hey, Walterman Homestead, what is up? So if you've never been on a live with us before, or if you have and need a reminder, just put your questions in all caps. We get to as many as we can.
Best thing to do is just let it sleep.
Is KK there now?
Okay, I think we're back. Can you guys see? Refresh. Because I can see it. I've got my phone here and I can see it moving. Okay, yeah, a lot of comments are coming through, so I think we're back now. Oh, goodness. Hopefully it won't keep doing that. We're going to double check and make sure all the kids are off the internet so we can talk. Man, here come the comments. It is moving. So I hope everybody had a really great week. Our little goats went to their new home at Big Bear Homestead. Okay. What makes decorative cabbage decorative and not food, sweetheart? You can usually eat those. I mean, there's no reason why you can't eat them. The only thing is when you buy something that says ornamental or decorative, sometimes they've treated it with chemicals that you can't treat food with. So if you buy like an ornamental pepper, sometimes that's the case if it's like a started larger plant. And so usually like if you buy seeds, it's not going to say decorative cabbage. I've bought some of those like peacock kales before and then like tried eating them later and it worked, but I don't know what they sprayed on them. So I usually don't buy anything that says decorative or ornamental that I'm planning to eat just because I don't know what the rules are differently for ornamental plants rather than food plants. When should we plant seeds in North Ohio? Clever Pup, what you need to do is go and search last frost date for your zip code. Or the closest large city to you and figure out what your last frost date is. Let's see, you said Ohio. Did you say North Ohio? I would guess is North Ohio. I think that's probably zone 5. And I would think that your last frost date is probably somewhere in the range of mid-May, maybe late May. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not super familiar with that area. But in which case you just want to count back 6 to 8 weeks for frost tender things. So you're going to start your tomatoes and peppers and eggplants like 6 to 8 weeks before. Usually like if you are going to start cucumber, squash, and melons like 4 weeks before. And then if you're going to do like cold hardy things like 12 weeks before. So, but yeah, thank you, Walterman. Walterman Homestead shared a link to find out your last frost date at the Farmer's Almanac. I'm so glad, Olivia. Are you planting any new varieties of tomatoes this year? I actually am. And that's one of the videos that I'm going to be shooting tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about my favorite varieties, the new varieties that I'm trying. Yes, the book pre-order. Let's talk about that. So many of you have pre-ordered my book and we all got emails this week. I actually got my email from the publisher right before they send it all out to you guys. But the book release has been delayed a month, which is very disappointing because here I have made this thing that, 10,000 plus people have ordered, and I am so excited and anxious for it to be in everybody's hands. And it's like a rip the Band-Aid off thing. Like when you made something and all these people are going to have it and everybody's going to have an opinion. And I'm like, okay. And then it's like, I'm literally, my stomach hurts when I think about it. And it's like, and wait another month. So it really stinks, but it was delayed due to COVID and shipping issues and stuff like that. So definitely a bummer, but, yeah, thank you, Karen and Reese's Adventures. It happens. We will get our books in due time. People have been really, really gracious. Of course, I know a lot of people are as disappointed as well. So do you ever take chances and sow seeds early? Yes, I do. The Mindful Homestead. I am kind of a little bit of a rebel when it comes to that stuff. I'll totally throw some seeds out there because the thing is that it might not freeze, or if it does freeze and I can cover it and protect the stuff, then I'm going to have a head start. So I do that sometimes. You're sweet, Miah.
You have to scooch.
Oh, I'm right in the middle.
Hey, put me on the side. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Oh gosh. Okay. Are there any F1 hybrids that can be seed saved, or do you not do that? So you can save the seeds of F1 hybrids. You're just not going to get a plant that is consistent with the parent plant. So like if it's kind of like the way genetics work, like if you have a first generation cross, they can be a number of things. And then if you save the seeds from that, it can come out with 10 different plants with different traits of the original parent plants. So you'll still get food. So it's not like you won't, when people say, oh, it's not sustainable to save seeds to hybrids. Well, I mean, you're not replicating the same plant, but if you are in a survival situation, I mean, you'll still get food. So it's not the best thing to do, but you can try it. And if you save seeds and you plant, let's say you have a F1 hybrid, you save seeds and you plant 10 plants. Well, they might all be different, but you might have 3 that are kind of similar to one another that have traits that you want. Well, save seeds from those and you plant 10 of those, and then you save the seeds from that generation of the ones that you want. And after 7 generations, you've created a new variety. Yeah, Debbie, that gets thrown around a lot. F1 hybrid seeds are sterile, and that's usually not the case. Like, that's really usually not the case. And that's something that people will talk a lot about, like, and they'll try to avoid buying GMOs for their garden seeds. And in most cases, like, I know in the United States, it's illegal to sell GMOs to at a consumer level. Like the farmers that are buying GMOs, they're having to like sign contracts on those. And there's all this kind of like legality to it. So you're not going to like go to the store and buy GMO seeds. Now, there are some cases if you live near commercial farms where you might experience some cross-pollination, especially things like with corn where there's a lot of real ready cross-pollination. But even that, in most cases, does not cause sterility because, I mean, like a big part of what's happened with small farmers is they try to save their seeds. And if they cross-pollinated with the GMO crop, then it causes, like, basically these big companies come after them for copyright infringement or trademark infringement. I don't know exactly. I don't know what legal term it is that they use against farmers for stuff like that, but they're not sterile. So.
All right. Someone asked, how did your ginger broilers turn out, and how did you like them compared to the Quartz Cross? They turned out good. They grew out longer. It was like 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The claim of the rooster and the hen being similar in size is true. Almost all the birds averaged out at about 4.5 to 5 pounds. We had like maybe 1 or 2 that were less than that. So far, we've cooked a couple of them.
Yeah,
and I think the only thing that I've noticed is that they were the same.
Right.
It's just
we fed them the same.
It's proportion.
This is frustrating.
Yeah, well, nothing to do about it.
Okay, I think we're back. Nope, we're not. All right, I'm not sure what the last thing you guys heard was. It looks like it's working again. Are you on the Wi-Fi?
Mm-hmm.
Our kids aren't on the Wi-Fi?
No.
So, yeah, less breast meat, more dark meat. They moved around a lot more. We like them. I mean, I would say that flavor and meat quality, it's probably similar. So.
Cool.
So. Somebody else asked.
Are we going to do them again?
I mean, that's really your decision.
Maybe. I'll probably do some.
So I saw another question. Somebody asked about, are y'all going? Okay, love y'all. Noah and Maddie were here from next door for dinner. But somebody asked about Gabriel, our livestock guardian dog.
Sorry.
You all right?
Something stuck in my throat.
Our livestock guardian dog. Someone asked, is the white dog always in with the goats? Does he live there or something? Yes, he lives outside with the goats, sleeps in the barn. He is a livestock guardian. He's Great Pyrenees. He traded right now.
No, but you can't do anything about it. There's no other internet to use. No one else is on it.
Okay.
Like, there's just nothing to do about it. And we can tell, Ashley down the street to stop checking her email.
Oh, I want it to work. Okay, I think we're back. But yeah, Great Pyrenees is our livestock guardian. Sing until we are back. That's a good idea, Jack. I'll just pop back in on me singing. And they're bred for this job. They are working dogs. And there are people who keep Great Pyrenees as pets. They keep them in houses. They keep them in neighborhoods. But there is a reason why Great Pyrenees rescues are constantly overrun with these dogs, because people think, oh, it's a big fluffy dog. I'm going to have that. And it's so pretty and it's so cute and I love it. And they end up wishing that they had not tried to keep a dog like that in a house or a neighborhood, because they have to have jobs. They can become very destructive when they're bored. One thing with the Great Pyrenees is that they sleep a lot during the day and they are awake at night, because that's just their breeding. And so, yes, he lives outside. He does not come in the house. He spent the first few weeks when we got him in the house, but for the most part, he's been outside. They are very prone to wander, what I've found, because we used to have a Great Pyrenees that got hit by a car. His name was Dakota, and he was a fantastic dog. But at that time, we didn't have next door, and we kept him in the smaller space over here, and he would not stay in the fence. And we tried so much to keep him in the fence. And he's so hairy, he'd just get through electric fences. Now, Gabriel has 3 acres next door that's all fenced. And Gabriel, thankfully, has never wandered. And I think it's because he just has so much space to roam and so much to protect that he does not ever try to get out of the fence. And he's very submissive to us. He's never aggressive to us. And so, it's just, I think that he's just a really good dog, but he gets lots of attention and stuff, but he has a job. He's a farm dog. Are you taking your high tunnel and raised beds with you? Negative. We are not taking that stuff with us. It is staying here and transferring with the house.
The peppers that she was using for breakfast were the Oreo con pollo peppers, weren't they?
Huh?
Shishita peppers were not for breakfast. That was like an appetizer.
No, I use a lot of different peppers for breakfast, like bell peppers, and not ours con pollo. No, not really. That's more like a seasoning pepper. Corbachi was one. I think I probably showed using that for breakfast. Yeah. Kimberly sent me a picture and said this could be the issue with the internet. There's a storm coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Our way. That's probably what's going on.
Well, do what we can.
Happy anniversary. Is it Arena? Congratulations, 12 years. That's awesome. No, we're not still sick. I mean, we're a little cruddy, but we're definitely recovering. Jeremiah is coughing a good deal tonight, but he's not sick.
Olivia Thrash, are you sure you don't have anything else you'd rather do than mess with us? Don't you have like a kid you watch Open Toys on YouTube? Or like those like sprinkle bombs or something? There's got to be something more interesting than harassing us. She's like, you guys are so famous.
She was saying she remembers when we got our house.
I'm not so famous that I can't come to California and make fun of you.
She said, no, nothing else. Did feeding your chickens the old chilies help them get back to laying? We did have an egg yesterday. I don't know if the chilies had to do with that or the fact that the days are now 30 minutes longer than they were 4 weeks ago. Yeah, we'll have to see how this storm rolling in affects the internet, because it is
definitely going to mess things up.
That will definitely affect our internet. It's just part of living out where we live, unfortunately.
If you guys really want us to get faster internet, because the fiber thing actually didn't work out.
Yeah, they wanted like $120,000 over a 2-year contract. And
they wanted like $6,000 a month, and I was like, yeah,
and
sure.
Our son, bless him, bless him, he's 15, and he's like, I think it's worth it. I'm like, you have zero concept of money,
and you also have no say. So in case there was any question on whether or not you get to choose, you don't.
Oh my gosh.
But you guys could all message Elon Musk and tell him to hurry up and get his Starlink stuff set up.
Yeah, for sure.
Be like, dude, launch the satellites.
So let's see. Yeah, Jackson, all he wants to do is stream his video game. And so he like really wants us to have good internet. Somebody just pulled into the driveway.
And that's probably them bringing that back.
Yeah, obviously we're not going to pay $6,000 a month for internet. I mean, I'm sure there are people who can't do that. We're not one of them. That's insane. And so we'll just figure it out, and we're just probably going to deal with it. Somebody asked what I'm sorry, I missed who it was, and if I scroll back, I probably won't find it. But somebody asked what a cherry or a tomatillo ground cherry seedling looks like. It's not exactly like a tomato seedling. So a tomato seedling has those two little long leaves whenever it first comes up, and these are more like rounded. And it is more squatty, like so. Whereas a tomato seedling is going to go grow up and out with its leaves, these are more compact. So they definitely look different from a tomato seedling. It's a nightshade family, but they're different. How difficult is starting onions from seed versus from starts? It's not difficult. It just takes more time. So it's not difficult at all, though. It's 15 already. I am having a hard time wrapping my head around that. But then I'll have people be like, yeah, my child's 40 this year. And I'm just like, man, I mean, I know that it goes by super fast, though, because I can't believe that he's 15. How early should I start cucamelon seeds? Probably 8 weeks or so. Like they take a little bit longer to get going. They're a lot slow starters, and I've had more success with transplanting those rather than direct sowing them because they do take a long time to get started. What's your favorite carrot? I've tried a lot of carrots, and I always end up falling back and really enjoying the cosmic purple carrot. And I know it's gotten like, it's not super rare anymore. And I will try some of the rare ones. Like I've done the Nebula and the Pusa Acida and like the really purple ones. And I like those. But the cosmic purple carrot has been probably like the one that has grown the best here with the least issues. And I really like it. I've got several bags still of cosmic purple carrots in my freezer. Do you ever have spinach or Swiss chard survive your winter outdoors? I've had Swiss chard survive our winter outdoors. Our winters can be so hit or miss. Like last year, we did not get any really intensely cold weather. We had a few days that got really cold, but like I had turnips and kale and all kinds of stuff outside through the winter last year. And right now I've got some kale out there that in the bed and some parsley and obviously thyme and rosemary and all of that still doing fine. So there are things that can. What are your wants in a new place? I really want a property that I can just go start on. Like that's something that's really important to me. Like we had looked at some properties that were very, very wooded, and like to have to spend a whole lot of time doing groundwork because we are building from scratch. I really don't want to do that. So like established pasture would be a benefit. Water, I definitely in some capacity. Like I really like that. I love some good trees. You know, I don't necessarily want like a fully wooded place, but I like to have some good trees just because trees are really special to me. And just in a sense that I really just feel like they have a story, and I love good trees. And man, I would really love some good soil. I do not want to be on a ridge like we are now. I had somebody message me tonight that's a local, like a neighbor, and sent me a message and said she was driving past our house with her dad and they were out here getting something, and they live down the road from me. And he didn't know what we did. And he said to her, it sure is good, because he grew up out here. And I mean, he remembers when this was a dirt road. And he said, it's really nice to see a family making something and filling their freezers on this rock hill, because we just live on rock. So. Do I have a favorite tree? Actually, Heather, I do have a favorite tree, and it's not my tree. My favorite tree on my property is that tree at the very back of the high tunnel. Sometimes when I'm in the high tunnel, you can see the shadow of it on the back of the high tunnel. It's just a really big, beautiful tree. But there is a tree down the road from my dad's house in Sherwood where I grew up, and it's a maple tree. And in the fall, it turns the most brilliant orangey yellow. And just the way the light hits it, I just remember walking underneath that tree when I was a kid. And of course, it's way bigger now than it was whenever I was really small. But I always make sure that I get to go see that tree whenever it turns colors, because it's just so beautiful.
That is actually a good idea.
What?
You know how the gate was, the hinge was sliding?
Mm-hmm.
Someone said you drill a hole and put a bolts and nuts through it, and then it won't slide past that. Should have thought of that.
Kendra, thank you for the super chat. She said, what are you going to do with your asparagus since you're moving in about a year? I'm going to leave it here. I am planning on taking cuttings from my roses, because I have a lot of very expensive roses, and that many of them were gifted to me. And so they're very special to me. So I want to take cuttings from my roses and root those so that I can plant new roses in my place from these, which is allowed even on trademarked roses or copyrighted roses. I always mix those up. You can do that as long as you're not selling them. So I'm going to be able to take cuttings from all my roses, but the bulbs and the perennials and the berry bushes and all of that, I might take some cuttings from the berry bushes and see if I can root those. But yeah, I mean, most of this stuff is staying. The high tunnel is staying. Obviously, all the soil and all that stuff is staying. So it's going to be a pretty cool farm.
We haven't announced, Olivia, where we're moving to yet. So you're just going to have to hold on like everybody else. And your mom doesn't know, so she can't tell you.
Actually, I'm pretty sure she does. So
no, she doesn't. Goodness, you cannot tell a teenager information that you want to not know how to be quiet.
Yeah. So those hydrangeas are going. Yeah, Matthew is like, he says, I have to take my limelight hydrangeas that he got for me. When will the pre-ordered shirts be shipping? They've been being printed this week, so they should be shipping out over the next few days.
I don't think she'd tell you even if you did ask her. So
no, we haven't nailed everything down yet, so we'll let you guys know. We're still letting things come organically, and then we will let you guys know once we make
a very
some
long,
decisions.
drawn out, painful process. Just prepare yourselves.
At least he's honest.
I mean, I don't want to give you guys any false hope that's going to be like, hey, we're going to give you all the information right now. Nope.
So
is it a similar zone? Probably.
I will tell you this. I will not live anywhere with a much shorter growing season than we have now. Like, that's something that, see, Jeremiah would be like gung-ho for like a ranch in Montana, except for he married a gardener that must have a garden. So do you have a waiting list for baby goats? My Happy Place Homestead? No, we don't. I don't 100% know what we're going to do this year. I think we're probably keeping, unless we end up with a ton of does, I think I'm probably going to keep most of my does this year.
Yeah, because we have a problem.
Yeah, I haven't even told my mom yet, guys. So that is what my mom just said. And so that's a good point. My mom doesn't even know yet. So that's one of the big things. Like, to be completely frank with you, we're still working out some different things. We have family. We have blended family situations that obviously need to be handled well. And so we're still making our decisions within our family, and then we'll share it with them when we can. Okay, I missed a couple of super chats. Let me see. So yeah, if you want to email us about baby goats, I have a list for Mangalitas, which Stu actually still have some Mangalitas available from this time because we've had some deals fall through. And I have a note if you want to be put on there, and I'll put your name on there, but I'm not sure I'm going to have anything this time. If Miah ends up building your next home, will you guys be doing a series on that? I'd be interested in watching then, and some new garden tours. Well, thank you for the super chat, Matt. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure we'll show the process. I don't know how. It probably won't be like in a how-to sense because we've never built a house before, so we'll be figuring a lot of stuff out. Toby, do you need to say hi?
Hello.
Grandma Me's on here.
Oh, my Grandma Me. Is KK on here?
I don't think KK's on
I
here.
don't think she's on here.
My friend was on there earlier. He said, "Hey, your mom's streaming."
Oh, how do you heat your greenhouse? I have an 8x12 and I'm worried electric heaters won't have enough output to start early in 6B. Cass, I will tell you that my Harbor Freight greenhouse was a heck of a lot harder to keep warm than this glass greenhouse is. With the glass greenhouse, I can put a small heater on there and get 10 plus degrees of warmth from that. With the Harbor Freight greenhouse, the back side of the greenhouse, even if I put the heater like right in the middle, it was way too drafty and I could only get a few degrees better. So whenever it was going to get really cold, like if it was going to get like below 20 outside and I had frost tender stuff in that greenhouse, I always moved it in. Toby, stop.
Okay, go play.
And so it really depends on your greenhouse, but I did do. Another thing you can consider doing is getting another layer of plastic, which can be kind of expensive, so it might not be worth it.
Oh, man. We just don't have a lot of good things to say about the Harbor Freight greenhouse.
Yeah, it's required a lot of extra, and for how much we've spent in addition to what it originally cost, we could have done something better.
Upgrade, but when you have to get a different greenhouse, like there are some better options out there that are similarly priced.
So, Angela, any update on the book? Amazon took it off my orders list and the date went down as well. Just noticed yesterday I had to reorder. Well, I'm not sure about that. That's the first time I've heard about someone having to reorder. So I'm sorry that happened. They emailed me this week. I said this earlier, but I need to put in a vlog. They emailed me before they emailed all of you guys. And basically it's been delayed a month due to COVID. So it's very hard to wait another month, but it should be out March 2nd. It was a shipping. I haven't even seen it yet because I was supposed to get it in the end of November and I didn't because of COVID, and now the shipping has been delayed. How did the tomatoes in the greenhouse compare? Well, this year I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to do a determinate variety in the greenhouse. They did really well. They stayed healthy longer, but I had too much nitrogen in my bed, so they grew too tall and leafy before they started to produce. Yeah. But that was like a soil issue. It wasn't the greenhouse.
Honestly, favorite dessert. I think I like the ginger boiler better because, again, it changed the meat, and I am a white meat person. I don't really like the dark meats that much. But the ginger broiler gave you way more flexibility. And what I mean by flexibility is the fact that they can get around means that they didn't go overweight fast. Also because we grew them out for 12 weeks. So what that means is that, I'm sure if you've been into any kind of meat chicken, like chat group or anything like that, watch videos, if you let them get too big, they can have problems moving around, cause issues, and some can die, things like that. So that's the risk of, people are like, don't let a Cornish cross go X, many days or weeks or whatever, because you run every week or day you go past the suggested time is more risk that the birds are going to die. You don't have that problem with the ginger broilers. I mean, most of them were still within pretty close to weight that you could even see. And so that gave us a lot of flexibility on choosing which day we wanted to process and things like that. So it can be a benefit. As far as the flavor of the meat and the quantity of meat, it's basically this. I didn't see a whole lot of difference. If it's buffering, I'll wait. I wasn't sure if it was buffering or not. Jeremiah, am I going to give tomatoes another try this year? No, I'm not. And there's nothing you can buy to make me. Oh,
it's frozen again.
Well, it's the storm, so just give it a second.
I feel frustrated.
Decree something. Sure. You just passed them.
Okay. I think we're back. Okay, you missed answering a super chat about what if you would ever raise meat rabbits. Okay, thank you, Alexis. Let me see if I can go back so I can say the person's name. Oh, Rachel Ellinger, thank you for that.
Vineyard Chicks. Can I have a cheese stick too? Have at it.
About raising meat rabbits. We have raised meat rabbits. We actually didn't really love that at all. Would we be okay with raising rabbits again? I think, yeah, if circumstances were different. But we just were not in a place of being organized enough. We had problems with the heat. We just did not love it at all. We much prefer raising meat birds. So,
yeah. I'm just going to stick with the chicken.
Now, I do like Joel Salatin's rabbit chicken houses, racken houses, he calls them. I think that's really neat as far as like amending
We've thought
soil.
about experimenting in that area once we got to bigger space.
Hey, Stivers. I saw you earlier and did not get to say hi. So I was out checking out my goaties this morning, and I'm so excited for La Mancha goat babies. And I have got 5 La Manchas that are looking definitely bred. Their udders are starting to fill in, and that makes me so excited. I get excited about kidding season every year, but I feel exceptionally excited this year because I've never had La Mancha babies before.
All of our guineas absconded.
Do you call it absconded when it's guineas?
They absconded.
Yeah, all our guineas left.
If bees can abscond, which is disappear, then the guineas can abscond. They bounced out.
Yep. They just left.
Like they grabbed their shoes and they bounced out.
Yeah, they did. They went to.
By the way, did you guys know that blue cheese has mold in it?
Oh my God.
I did not know that. I actually Googled it. Is that true?
Jeremiah, stop it.
I actually really wanted to know if that was true.
Have y'all seen that? There's a viral video with this guy. What is it? Levelin? Anyway. He does internet drama videos, and Jeremiah's obsessed with them, and they are extremely catching. And obviously, we know that blue cheese has mold in it, but in this video, this guy takes like real things that have been posted on the internet, and he does like music to them, and they're so stinking catchy. And they have been in my head for weeks, and Jeremiah waits until I'm like working on something and I haven't been singing one of these songs, and he comes in playing it so that he will get it in my head.
Man.
He's on Instagram.
Olivia, don't lie. Amelia did not say hello.
Please help. I need butter.
Please help me out of butter.
His creativity is astounding. It really is. And it is very good. So
I don't want to meet people. I don't want to be friends.
Now it's going to be in my head. Like the other day, I was like, no, I will not let this be in my head. I like turned on worship music really loud while I was cooking breakfast because I was like, you're not doing this to me.
Oh, Jessica doesn't watch Awakening with JP. I do. JP Sears is my man.
Oh.
He's my favorite Californian. And that is over Olivia Thrash for sure.
Jeremiah, quit messing
and also, Olivia, if Amelia said anything, it was probably like this. She was walking past your door. She saw you. You said, hey, I'm talking to Jess and Miah. And, do you want to say hi? And she probably did this. And then walked off. Is that pretty much how that went down?
Space for your breed of pigs. Are they noisy, diggers, escape artists? So they are, Mangalitses are like similar to wilder breeds in the sense that they're really good at foraging. Any pig, if you keep it really contained, is going to dig. But like when they have a large area, they don't tear the ground up too bad. They're also not really massive. We had these old spots that were huge pigs. I mean, they were probably 500 pounds each.
Definitely.
And
get
they
back over
tore the
700.
ground up so bad, not because they were digging it awfully, but they were just so heavy. And the mangalitas are not that heavy. And so they really don't. Now, if you keep them in a smaller space, they're going to tear the ground up. That's just any pigs. But with ample space, like those pigs back in the corner, we have 5 in that big, it's probably half-acre area. And they have not destroyed that. They haven't torn the ground up. And
Olivia said that what my description of Amelia saying hi was true, but that Jessica actually says hello. I'm assuming her mom, Jessica.
Yeah. Is it frozen again? Did it unfreeze?
No.
Yours is frozen. Yours is frozen. Mine's not frozen. My Jerusalem artichoke they did okay. They didn't develop anything really big. They just, they were all still pretty small. And so I'm just saving them to replant. I'm going to move them to a different place because that bed is going to be enclosed where the goats are going to be. So I didn't get to harvest a bunch to eat, but I'm just going to move them so that we can hopefully have a harvest next year. Thank you, Rachel. Melissa, how important is hardening off before planting out? It is extremely important that you harden your plants off if you started them in a controlled environment. Now, if you started them like outside, not so much, but if they were in the house, you know, they haven't been exposed to the sun is way too intense for them to go straight out into it. If you do not harden them off, you will lose your plants. Now, what I like to do is I move them outside in the evenings for a couple of hours, and then I just increase the amount of time. I usually plan on a week for hardening off well. And then if I can plant them on an overcast day, even after that week, I'll do that. Anytime that I've rushed it, and by rushed it, I mean only taking 2 days of moving the plants outside, I end up with sunburn on my plants. And they recover like from a sunburn, a mild sunburn, but if you just put them straight out, they can definitely die. I've seen the Target Dress Challenge, and I think it's really fun and really cute. And the people who have done it, I think it's just really fun. Me and cousin Amy could do that. I don't usually buy new clothes. I usually buy my clothes used, and that's the only reason why I haven't jumped onto it. But it is super cute. I've seen some really, really fun ones of people doing those. No, Matt, totally garden in the ground. I mean, there's nothing at all wrong with gardening in the ground. And I mean, gardening in a tilled bed, I personally prefer doing no-till methods, but I mean, I had a tilled bed garden last year where we tilled in the ground and I grew a lot of food in it. So it's something that you can definitely do. I'm kind of moving more towards no dig, but that does require, for me, where I live, might not be this case everywhere. I know a lot of people live in places that have more soil, but I have almost no topsoil here because the ground is so rocky and clay. It requires a lot of compost, and of course that costs money. So, but no, I mean, you can definitely garden in the ground, and you can just amend the soil with some compost or organic matter if you need to, depending on how your soil is where you are. But I encourage you to do whatever kind of gardening you can. There's no reason to not do that.
Do jalapenos cross-pollinate with other species of plants?
With other peppers, they will, but no, they're not going to cross-pollinate with like
but they
melon.
can cross-pollinate with other peppers.
Yeah. The rule with peppers is, and I am very willy-nilly about this, and I will save seeds and I'll do it willy-nilly, but I also just, take the risk. People will tell you to keep your hot peppers and your spicy, or your hot peppers and your mild peppers, sweet peppers, like I think they say like 75 to 100 feet away. I don't have a garden, even my garden, and as big as it is, I don't have that much distance within my garden to plant things apart from each other. Now I will plant spicy and sweet separate, because for the most part, things are not going to pollinate across the garden. For the most part, peppers are going to pollinate themselves, or they might cross with the one that's like right directly around them. If you want to save seeds for something, though, and you don't want it crossed, you just protect the blossoms, which means cover them with something like a mesh party bag or something like that, or a fabric that's tied around them that.
What?
It's frozen.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, guys. The storm is rolling in.
It's in North Little Rock now, so it's coming our direction.
So shake it real regular, and it'll pollinate itself. But the thing with hot peppers and sweet peppers is that the genetics of a hot pepper are going to override a sweet pepper. They're just dominant. And so if you save seeds from a sweet pepper that's been next to a hot pepper, you're going to get a hot pepper. Like I had a bell pepper that lit me up this year. I cried. Like it was so stinking hot, and I had saved seeds. Yeah, I just wasn't ready for it. I was expecting a bell pepper, and I took a bite of it. It was so hot because it had cross-pollinated with something. But with jalapenos, I mean, I'm more prone to save hot pepper seeds without concern because, you know, they might cross, but they'll still just be hot peppers. Has your property been sold? If not, how would one go across purchasing it? Our property is promised. So that's all we're really sharing right now, but we have now worked something
But
out.
if that falls through, you can bring the asking price in quarters to the front door on the date.
No, we've been making plans. We've been making a lot of plans. There have been a lot of moving parts. We're working on it.
We're going to sell by owner. And we're not even going to use a bank. Just saying.
Yeah. So, in pennies, a fish is in less life.
As long as I don't have to count it.
Michael dibs on the house. So yeah, we've had a lot of interest. We've actually had some people email us some offers, but we've just got a lot of working parts. We'll share with you guys when we can. We're not talking just a ton about that because we're just sleeping it. So.
But honestly, we've hinted more today in this live before.
I know.
You're kind of letting it out. You're unraveling.
What is the trailer for? What is the camper for? Well,
to go camping.
I have shared with you guys before that we want to build a house. That's something Jeremiah is really excited about, is building a house. And so I'm not 100% sure how it's going to work out because, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. But the camper, we might be able to live in it while we build, or build a shop and have the shop and the camper to live in while we build. And otherwise it's just for camping and stuff. We go to conferences, we go to things that, you know, like homesteading conferences and being able to camp and cook. One of the things that we really want to do some trips with our kids and go on camping trips, but we really like to cook our own food and be able to take our own food with us. And so that's something that'll be really beneficial. To go camping. So yeah. I know who bought it, Mr. Blue Cheese. That's funny. Can you plant seeds from shop-bought peppers and butternut squash? Yeah, Marie, I have done both, and I've had more success with the peppers. Squash, they cross-pollinate much more readily. I have planted a handful of squash seeds now, got from a store-bought squash, and none of them have ever grown something like what I saved the seeds from ever, because they are much more apt to cross-pollinating. But I have grown peppers from plants from the store and gotten a very similar pepper. Do you like turnips? I do like turnips. I like mashed turnips. I like turnips in soups. Our pigs like turnips too. Yeah, our pigs like turnips too. We share our extra turnips with the pigs. Best tomato variety for canning. I really like the Italian heirloom tomato for canning and the Amish paste. Those are probably my two main go-to plain canning tomatoes. And I can all my other tomatoes as well. For my big slicers, I just put them in the oven for a little while, which causes a lot of the liquid to run off. And then I drain those and skin them. Once they've been in the oven, you can pull the skins right off. And I can those also.
Yes, Jessica is still going to be releasing a journal.
Yes, we're still working on it. I'm not sure when it'll come out. You're going to try the pepino melons from Baker Creek. I have seeds for those, and I was going to grow them last year, and I didn't. I might try them. I'm not 100% sure.
We do not have a Blackstone grill. I don't even know what a Blackstone grill is.
Yeah. Hey, Green Zebra Gardening. How are you, man?
Have you made your own kombucha? Not so much.
It's been a while. I'm really bad at stuff that's fermenting.
We made a couple of batches of kombucha, and then we made a couple of batches
it.
of fruit-flavored vinegar for cleaning.
Which is what happens whenever you forget your kombucha for long enough.
So me and me and Nathan from Whispering Willow, whenever Jessica forgets about kombucha, we'll come over and get together and see who can take the most shots of it without flinching.
Gosh, stop.
It's pretty rough.
Jill's really good at making kombucha. I mean, really, the thing is Jill could teach me and that would be beneficial, but can she impart to me the discipline to take care of your ferments in a timely manner?
You can't impart that.
I know. That's why I'm thinking maybe it's a lost cause.
I think we just need to hang out with Jill a lot.
Yeah. How did your San Marzanos do this past year? I remember you giving them another try. I still was really underwhelmed with the San Marzanos. I know some people just rave about them, but they have been really prone to blossom and rot for me, which I understand that's a watering and a soil issue. But I have also noticed that some varieties are more prone to having issues with the water and the soil. And they just don't produce a ton. I feel like they should produce more. So I don't know. People rave about them. Set alarms for your fermenting. You see green zebra gardening? That's the kind of thing that should
Makes
work.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
But I have so many reminders on my phone that I become immune to them. It's just, I have so many that, and I it's a discipline issue. It really is. I need to just make up my mind to do it.
Someone
you
said,
saw
"What's my
lightning
favorite
outside our
tool?"
window.
I
Yeah,
saw
it's
that,
rolling
right?
in. Yeah.
Someone said, "What's my favorite tool?" That's a hard question.
Different jobs call for different things.
Yeah, but if I had to pick one that I think is like very versatile and extremely useful in lots of areas, is DeWalt makes this small flex volt pancake compressor, and it runs off of a 60 volt battery. And I've used it to frame barns, air up tires, clean stuff off with a little, spray nozzle. I mean, it's probably the most versatile battery operated tool. DeWalt also comes out with like battery operated nail guns, and this is half the price of one of those nail guns, just one. Then they have like 6 of them. Right. So it's half the price of one nail gun, and it literally runs all of my actual guns because it's an actual compressor. And so I basically just have like a 20-foot hose and that little compressor, and I have used that for framing every barn that's out in the wooded areas, the barns where the pigs are. I mean, just we've used it for everything. It's a stout little tool. I think every homestead would benefit from a battery operated compressor like that.
Someone asked Danita, what is the best way to keep snakes out of the garden? Let the good snakes live in the garden. I have king snakes in my garden every year, and I do not chase them off. And truly, like, just leaving them alone. I have only encountered one venomous snake in the garden, and it was dead. It had gotten squashed between 2 pieces of tin. It was a copperhead. And other than that, I've never seen one. However, I run into king snakes every year, and we just like name them. Now they'll startle me when I come up on them, but I just leave them alone and let them set up house in the garden, and like that's their space, and they handle keeping the other snakes out. And that's, I know it's hard if you're scared of snakes, but if you have a non-venomous snake that is in your space and you leave it there, it will help with that. Is it better to start beets and rutabagas from seed indoor and then transplant, or is it better to direct sow zone 6AB Kansas? Daphne, either one is really okay. 6AB Kansas, you're probably getting more snow and freezing. I mean, you're freezing harder there than we are. So you could start them inside and just get a head start. Whereas, because if your ground is frozen, obviously you cannot plant in frozen ground. And so if you go ahead and start them inside, you can transplant them out. I've done both. And I tend to start those just so I can get a little bit earlier start.
Someone said, have you ever tried the Ryobi all-in-one nailer? What do you think?
Jeremiah is really sold out to DeWalt. So,
I mean,
so he hasn't.
For me,
right.
like Ryobi would be like buying a late 90s Kia.
He's very passionate about DeWalt tools. It took him a long time to build up his
Listen,
tool
I'm
collection.
not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but like, listen, okay, in the tool world, like, I'm not saying something that's offensive. Like, I'm not going to walk into Home Depot and talk to some guy that's there to do work or some home person who's there to fix up something on their house. And like, it's understood. Like, if you are looking at a used car lot and you're like, well, there's a Lexus and there's a Suzuki, you're not saying they're the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not offensive to say that. It's just true. Buy what you can afford. But my experience is
We've had some Ryobi
save up
tools. It
and
was a long time
buy.
ago.
They were Jake's and they got left here. I never actually used them, but I'm saying if that's what I could afford, that's what I would use.
Right. But they don't last as
They
long.
do not last. They do not have the torque. They do
Okay,
not have
so
the battery life. They
here's-
do not have the
Here's
versatility.
Jeremiah's stance, and this is something that we have butted heads on in our marriage so bad, and I finally conceded to him on this. He is very much a person that will do without something and make do for an extended period of time in order to save and buy what he gets to buy one time. I'm the kind of person that will bargain shop and buy something lesser, and then it'll break, and then I have to buy something else. And he is like intent. He is like intent on this. Like you save and you do without it, and you go without it until you can buy and buy it once. And like instead of having 8 tools, make do with 3 and that are multi-purpose, that are the better ones that are going to last. Like he hates buying something and having to replace it in a short time. Like it is offensive.
Or getting into a job and it doesn't have the power or the torque, or having to replace batteries over and over and over again. Like there's a 60 volt.
Buy once, cry once.
There's a 60 volt.
That's pretty good. Bradford Holmes said, buy once, cry once. You cry when you buy it, but then you don't cry.
That's what I'm saying.
Again.
And you won't. You'll never, because it'll literally last for 20 years or longer, depending. But and there are other good brands. Milwaukee's a good brand. Rigid is a good brand. They're close to comparable, in my opinion, to DeWalt. I feel like DeWalt edges them out with their 60 volt flex stuff, because there's a 60 volt skill saw, like handheld skill saw. It's battery operated. Did you know, like, I framed the entire window greenhouse on 2 batteries? It was like, I counted, I have it written down somewhere, maybe on my phone. It was like 450 cuts of 2x6 and different stuff on 2 battery charges. Now, if you've got another battery operated skill saw that can do that, awesome. I doubt you do.
I do think there is something to be said. Like Geared for Life said, well, I don't use power tools very often. It's what I can afford. Like you got to think too, Jeremiah is putting his tools like through the ringer and doing a lot of stuff with them. If you don't need them very much, and it doesn't make any sense
3
to
kitchens
buy.
counting ours, or 4, 3 kitchens counting ours, completely remodeled. Like all kinds of stuff around the house, the farm. Like I use my tools all the time for all kinds of stuff. Like if you're not doing that much work with your tools, then don't invest in good tools. In that. But if you're on like a homestead, even a small one like ours, you're going to be using a lot of tools. Okay, and so investing in quality tools is an important thing. I would never suggest skimping on fencing and tools if you're going to do homesteading.
That was one of the things that when we first started, I was so pushy because I was very, very impatient and I really, really wanted animals. And Jeremiah was like, no, not until we can put up good fences. But while so many people that I know were struggling with their animals getting out of fences that weren't built as well, like we have really not struggled much. I mean, we've had dogs that could go over the fence. We've had a few times, like the other day, the pigs knocked the gate off the hinges. Like we've had a few instances with animals busting out, but we have never had a ongoing struggle to keep our animals contained. Even people are like, oh, goats are so hard. Not really. Like if your fences are good, they don't have to be that hard. And that's something he was adamant about from the beginning. Drove me bonkers, like when we were first trying to get started, because I was impatient. But after the fact, I was definitely
wheelbarrow or gorilla cart. You need both. They're 2 different tools that do 2 different things.
Well, to consider where he is in town.
Gorilla cart.
If you're in a residential
if you're super
lot,
small scale and you're not moving a bunch of gravel, a bunch of soil, trash, pulling the dead plants out and having to haul them somewhere. Like we use the wheelbarrow more than the gorilla cart. Mostly we use the gorilla cart for transporting seedlings. Jessica, we'll throw a bag of soil in there for Jessica. She needs to haul it somewhere.
I use the gorilla cart more. He uses the wheelbarrow.
Me and Ben use the wheelbarrow for sure.
Marie DaCosta, do you hydrate veggies or fruits? If yes, what method do you use? I have a dehydrator, and I just use it in that. I definitely do hang herbs as well.
Hold on. A gorilla cart is like a radio flyer wagon that has a release at the front that tips up.
So
it's like a dump cart, but it's basically the size of like a standard radio flyer. And they have all different kinds.
Also the orange one.
Well, they have different kinds. Like that one wouldn't hold soil. The one that's actually gorilla cart that I think they're thinking of is like a black tub that tips. And then there's also the orange Gorilla Cart that we have that has like
a
metal sides.
mesh.
But you wouldn't put
It's like
soil
a
and stuff in
wagon.
that.
It's
more
like a wagon. It's not really for moving soil. It's for moving like bags and stuff. It has holes in it. I like that Gorilla Cart for harvesting. The wagon one with the mesh sides. I harvest all my onions into that. Like anytime I'm doing a big harvest, I'll harvest into that because you can hose stuff off in there.
Yes, it has the handle is rounded. It could go on the back of like you say tractor. I'm assuming you mean like riding lawnmower.
Yeah.
I would not put that on the back of like our Kubota tractor. That
would probably tear it up.
Just end bad.
Yeah.
But like if it's ready to go, both of the Gorilla Carts we have can hook up to a riding lawnmower. Also, Olivia Thrash, I do not like pickles if you're still here. Pickles are disgusting.
Considering a book tour, it's been a hard thing to try to plan anything like that because obviously like COVID restrictions and not really knowing what's going to happen. Into the spring, I may travel to some surrounding cities. I may set some things up in like maybe within driving distance, like Dallas and maybe like Memphis and stuff like that. But I have not planned anything yet.
This is Jessica in real life. I thought my friends had invited me over for board games, but it turns out it was the football game. LOL, I was disappointed. But now I'm watching you guys instead. Much better.
Come over for the game. Yeah.
She's like, dun, dun, dun. Pictionary, man. What, football?
I am not fun to watch sports with because I'm literally like, I can't
I'm rooting
cheer
for a team, and then the other team throws a touchdown. She's like, yes. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, that kid's mom is so excited for him right now. Way to go, guy.
I just feel it for them. What are you most excited to grow this year? The local root. Have you seen the new orange accordion tomato from Baker Creek? I have seen that. I got a few of Baker Creek's new varieties that I'm pretty excited about. I already started the Casper kale, and I'm pretty pumped about that. And I got a few of their new tomatoes. I'm going to show all of them, but to be completely frank, I think I'm just most excited to have my garden back as a whole. Like I've been out there a lot the last few days. I've been cleaning some stuff up and moving some soil and different things and starting seeds. And I'm just so eager to have it going again. What is your best advice for buying land for aspiring homesteaders? That's a good question. One, make sure you
pray about it.
Yeah, pray about it. That's really the best thing. Make sure you make yourself familiar with like the laws. There are small areas out in rural areas that still have HOAs, weirdly. But you need to make sure that your land doesn't have any restrictions on it because like you can land on like a street that was developed by a person who put a clause in the paperwork that says no swine can be raised on them. So you need to make sure there are restrictions. I've talked to so many people and their main thing is they're so ready to get out of their HOA. If you're going to buy a piece of property, it would just be, don't put any more people above you telling you what you can do with it because you already do have to deal with government restrictions, but an HOA is just another layer of restriction. We've really done so much on this property, even though it was somewhat limited because of how rocky it is, that I do feel like you can do with whatever you end up with. But if you have the capacity to make sure that it drains well is really good. Checking to see how the soil is really good. If you are coming up, like we found our property in January, like if you are finding it one time of year, trying to maybe look at Google Earth, try to maybe get some pictures of it another type of year can be really beneficial. But, there's just a measure of risk in it. I definitely, after being here with our creek, I like that we had our creek, but I really wanted water on our next property. That's something that was really important to me. And by that, I mean like a pond or, like some form of water. But, I just kind of think you can transform a lot of things, but that HOA and the restrictions is something that you don't want to have to deal with. Cass Fairbanks, I discovered this channel a month ago, got inspired and ended up buying a Palram, raised beds, and probably way too many seeds. Very excited for my first garden. Just wanted to say thanks. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you've been inspired, and I hope that it goes well for you and it's incredibly rewarding. It's such a wonderful experience. Your first garden, you're going to remember it forever.
It's pretty long, Olivia, I'd say. I mean, I've had it longer before, but
never too many seeds. That is true with the seeds. There's never too many seeds. I mean, like, they last for several years. Don't throw away your seeds just because they're past the date on the back of the seeds. Definitely keep them. Yeah, I like it when Sweet Miah wears his hair down. He doesn't very much.
I'm just waiting for it to. I can't wait for it to all turn gray so I can impersonate Gandalf all the time.
His hair is getting really gray. I don't know if you guys. He wears a hat all the time. I'm going
full gray.
It's getting very, very gray.
I'm digging it.
She said hers is only like 3 inches longer.
Whose?
I'm kind of reminded of Klingon. Your long hair. So we found this one app.
You shall not pass.
We found this one app that is hilarious, and I'm just using the free trial, and I'm actually probably cancel it. But it is called, what is it? Reface? What is it called? Reface app. And you put your picture in, and then it makes a video with your face on like a movie character or whatever, and it is so funny and weirdly like. Oh, let me see if I can show you guys this.
Probably not.
I don't want to get demonetized. I better not turn this on. Okay, so this is Belle with my face on it from Beauty and the Beast. Is that bizarre? Which obviously
you actually make a really good Belle.
Is that so weird? Hold on, let me find another one. It's called Reface is the app. Okay, so here's Jeremiah as the Incredible Hulk.
I sent that to Asher, and I said,
It's not focusing well. There we go. Is that weird?
I said, this is me getting mad over my eggnog. I make a pretty good looking Hulk.
Yeah. I like it. I dig it. Yeah, they do last a few years, Michelle. It's definitely nice to be able to have it. It's called Reface. It's really funny. We were laughing so hard. We did do a video with Benjamin's face on Thor, and it was hilarious because he had just this little baby face. Oh, here was the other one that I thought was weird. Wait, which one? Let's see. There's Jeremiah's face on Thor.
Oh gosh, that one was not nearly as good.
I thought it's so funny. Isn't that weird? It's so crazy. And then here's this one. It works best if you use a person that you have some similar features to. That's me on Katniss Everdeen. That's so weird. We had too much fun with that.
You don't have any money because you're a child. You're just a child.
He makes a great Thor. He actually dressed up as Thor once back whenever we were in youth ministry and the Avengers movie came out, and he took our youth group dressed up.
To the midnight premiere, we were all dressed up, and when we got out of the car, started walking up, people started noticing, and like they all
ended up on the
like
news.
I mean, it was huge because in the midnight premieres,
really good.
Well, midnight premieres used to be a big deal because like everyone would try and fit in at the same time, and every theater every room in the theater was showing the same movie. So there was literally like 1,000 people at this theater waiting to get in. And like we walk up and like people start lining up. Yeah, I know. Let's wait for it to come back and then we'll sign off. Okay.
All right.
I think we're back.
Are we back?
It looks like it.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because that storm is coming over us and it's not going to work for very much longer. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. I'm sorry for the poor service. The storm rolling in and our internet just doesn't really work well with us. So hope you guys have a really lovely night, and we will